a lot of times, I think photographers focus on, the technicalities of it. And, a lot of times what makes work beautiful is, it's not really the technicality, it's the intangibles. Like you can take some very, very clean, simple, lighting, but the way that you interact or the way that the subject interacts with you and your camera, their level of comfort and, like things like that, that's what makes images that, are really special. So, I just hope that the photographers, that are learning, coming up, like, they don't forget that, like, their interactions with the subject matter more than, the technical aspects of light.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Alicia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives, just like you, on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join us in the Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, let's get social. Follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. Additionally, Friends in Beauty is now on Patreon. So for as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends in Beauty podcast. And there are also several tiers available that unlock Patreon exclusive content just for you, like behind the scene content of the Friends in Beauty podcast, bonus interview clips, a monthly Ask Me Anything, discounts, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the link down below in the show description for that as well. Also, if you'd like to stay connected even further, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. They are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different resources and tips throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join us over there. And last but not least, listen up. The most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome JD Barnes to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. JD is a photographer who, although having lost complete vision in his right eye due to uveitis, takes pride in his ability to see beyond the typical, and in doing so, creates something special every time he picks up his camera. After returning to the States from a modeling career in Europe, JD decided to pursue photography. With over 10 years of experience in the industry, he has totally solidified a name for himself. His work has been featured in publications such as Essence, Harper's Bazaar, WWD, and Vogue UK, to name a few. While he has photographed some of the most famous artists of today, Lizzo, Billy Porter, Regina King, Alicia Keys, he's as ambitious as ever and is still pushing forward on his artistic journey. JD believes an artist walks by feeling, by emotion, by intuition. It's what separates us from the technicians of the world. There is no fear of wrong, only mediocrity. I was so honored to sit down and have this conversation with JD, as he is someone who is very low key and doesn't typically do interviews. My persistence paid off, and I was able to get him on the Friends of Beauty podcast. I've been following his work for years, and I knew that this conversation would be a treat for my photographers and my other friends in beauty. In this interview, JD shares how he got his start as a photographer, how his past as a model helps him as a photographer, how losing vision in his right eye affected his photography, some pet peeves that he has, how photographers can strengthen their skill set aside from picking up the camera. He also answers some questions from the Friends and Beauty community. He shares how to protect your images from getting lost and so much more. I really enjoyed this conversation with JD, and I know you will too. So let's go ahead and jump into this chat. And if you prefer to watch this interview, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends and Beauty podcast, JD.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you feeling today?
I can't complain too much. Another day in Gotham.
Okay. In Gotham City. You in New York.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this again. Before we jump in, I want to start off with some icebreakers so that, we can get to know you a little bit outside of what you do as a photographer. Right. So the first one, just give us 3 random facts about JD.
Oh my God. 3 random facts. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I used to model. And I am very much so a Virgo.
Okay, Virgo. Virgo season just started today. When's your birthday?
The 29th.
Okay. What's that on Monday? Next Monday?
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
Oh, happy early birthday. My mom is a Virgo, so I have nothing bad to say about Virgos. I love Virgos.
Yeah, for sure. You're the best.
Yes. Y'all those perfectionists that we need in our lives to keep everything together.
Something like that.
So the next one, what do people always tell you that you're good at aside from photography?
Oh man. I don't know. Man, photography is like my thing. So okay. So I'm really good at like sports facts in general. I'm a big sports head, especially Lakers and the Braves, the Atlanta Braves baseball. So yeah.
That's dope.
If I wasn't doing photography, I'd probably be like doing sports broadcasting or something like that.
That's cool. Okay. So I also have these things called pod decks. And they have like these really random, crazy questions in them sometimes. Is a would you rather deck and a what the heck? Which one do you want?
Oh Lord. I guess let's go with the would you rather.
He's a risk taker. Would you rather give JD a good card? Let's see, something crazy. Ain't none, that's boring. Where am I? Oh, okay, so this says, would you rather wear a monitor that beeps when you're lying or beeps when you're attracted to someone?
Huh. Probably attracted. Yeah, because I'm okay with people knowing that I like you. I don't always like when everybody know exactly if I'm being 100% or not. Sometimes you get Yeah,
that makes sense. I like that reasoning too, because there's nothing wrong with being attracted to somebody. Yeah,
absolutely. And in fashion, you can't always just tell the truth. Sometimes you got to doctor a little bit. That's just how it is. So even dealing with models, all of that, you just somebody asks me, am I doing a good job? And I don't want to kill their confidence. So
right. Yeah, but you got to be honest at some things, because then they're going to be walking around thinking they killing it.
But I mean, sometimes you can work yourself up to, killing it, or, what I'm saying, it's just, it just may not be that kind of session where you got to necessarily kill it. We're just trying to get the job done, etc. So, but yeah, I think confidence is, allowing a person to have confidence in themselves, even if you aren't necessarily feeling it 100%. Like, you know, you can work with a person as long as, you can work with a person as long as they have some confidence. But if they don't have no confidence in themselves, then, it's kind of a wrap. So.
That's true. That's true. JD, when is the last time that you did something for the first time?
Man, I'm terrible at these random questions.
Anything adventurous going on in your life?
I have not been adventurous in a while. It's been real secular around here. Trying to get this money up and stay focused. So it's been a while. Last year, I mean, I think I traveled. I traveled to Paris for the first time, so that was cool. That's probably the last time. Yeah, in like, what's that, October?
That's not bad.
So
I like that.
yeah, this year though, it's been a lot of sames.
Yeah, like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Good reference.
Yeah, I feel that. If you could give a piece of advice to like your 20-year-old self, like what would you tell you?
My 20-year-old self, I would probably tell myself to really focus on what you want and not try to please other people.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm still telling myself that, so I would love to get a head start on that for sure.
Yes, I hear that. And last one, you kind of already gave me the answer, but if you weren't a photographer and you weren't a sports broadcaster, like what else could you see yourself doing?
Honestly, I would probably be doing something like building construction related. I actually went to school for that at one part of my life, and I enjoy working with my hands. Building things. I used to, work like heavy construction, like building houses and things like that, and carpentry, things like that. So, I mean, like those are dope to me. I enjoy even watching people on like YouTube, like build and restore things with their hands. Like that's yeah. So I would probably be doing that. Still, it's still creative in a sense. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Were you creative as a child?
I think so. Play with a lot of Legos and building stuff, and yeah, teenage years I used to write a lot of poetry. I actually don't know where that skill went because I used to be nice with it, but it's probably like a muscle. If you do it enough, you start to lose it. But yeah, used to draw a bit. So yeah, I would consider myself creative.
Okay. Yeah. So who is JD? What do most people not know about you? Since I got the exclusive behind the scenes.
Most people not know. Most people don't know anything about me for real. I'm a super private person, outside of my work. And every now and then an opinion here or there, but I like to kind of keep to myself, and yeah, stay focused, committed to the goals.
Yes, definitely. So what's a typical day in your life look like now as a photographer on a good day, like a good typical day when you're working and things are just flowing the way it should be flowing?
Man, days typical is a hard one because it just kind of depends. I have days where I'm, reaching out to agencies and models, things like that, are responding to emails for, jobs. But also it's a lot of retouching that happens. Actually, I'm doing that today. So that's the majority of the day. And if it's not those things, then, definitely shooting, just trying to set up my light, or, working with individuals, trying to get some good shots. So depends.
Yeah. These days, are you doing more personal stuff or a mixture of like personal photography, things that you want to do for yourself in your portfolio, or like more so what other companies need?
It's always a mix for me, even when I'm super busy, I try to, do personal projects and just shoot, it's not always, it doesn't always have to be for a quote unquote project. It's like shooting people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and working on my craft and, challenging myself even amongst the same lighting setups or, situations, but, because each person is different, you can get something different out of it. So yeah, that's probably mainly what I'm doing. But even with client work, I'm trying to get, the best I can get, or um I guess just making sure that the client is happy. That's very important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you get into photography? Because you just mentioned that you were into you used to model, you used to do construction.
Man, I'm old, man. I've been doing this probably 10 plus years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. When did you start taking it seriously? Like you saw yourself doing this like full time and like a full time career.
Probably like 8, 9 years ago.
Okay.
Um, I've been in New York 10 plus years. In fact, 11 years now. Um, so yeah, probably nine or so years ago, after I came back from Europe, I kind of settled on, photography being where I wanted to go and what I wanted to continue to pursue and dig deep into.
Mm-hmm. What were you
And
doing in
have a
Europe?
shelf life for modeling, modeling has a shelf life for the most part, but in photography you can do it forever.
Mm-hmm. Were you modeling in Europe?
I was.
Okay, so you were like a real model.
Yeah, I was a real model for sure.
Okay. So when did you pick up the camera though and say, okay, let me try photography? Was it because you were a model and maybe like taking your own images and stuff?
I mean, for the most part, yeah, you have to go back to Alabama, I would me and my friend, we would buy cameras or things, Black Friday sales, stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I would try to figure out the settings and then hand the camera to a friend and, had them just take a bunch of pictures of me, and then I try to edit them myself. And so yeah, for the first couple of years, it was definitely kind of trying to figure out ways to, you know, elevate myself without having to either pay or be around a bunch of other people um, back in Alabama, which doesn't really have a fashion market. So you're just trying to figure things out. And then for a while, I would shoot in like local clubs, picture man stuff, little printer and print out images of people, and try to sell it, things like that. When I was in college, I would do a little headshot here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, yeah, I moved here, shot a little bit, but mostly focused on modeling. Then when I went to Europe, I felt like the modeling was kind of slowing down. I use that energy to just really like dig deep into photography and figured out that that's what I kind of wanted to do more than anything else.
Gotcha. I love that. How does I guess your past as a model help you as a photographer?
I think when you spend time in front of the camera, it absolutely allows you to have a little bit more, um I think, empathy for your subject.
Mm.
um and I think it worked vice versa. I mean, because at the tail end of me being primarily a model, I was shooting, so I was able to pick up things lighting wise, etc., from from the photographers that I was working with.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, on the flip side, just understanding angles, understanding, being able to read people, which I think is very important as a photographer, just really being able to understand what a person, the body language that they're giving off, and then you can kind of understand how to push a person, I think, because everybody doesn't always want to be, pushed necessarily all the time. So, things like that just kind of help with connecting to your subject.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. What do you consider yourself to have a breakout moment? Like, do you have a breakout moment that happened that you started to get on people's radar and started getting like these Essence covers and all of that?
I think I kind of leave that up to other people, because to me, in my in my head, like I'm still pushing to get where I want to be, and that's just kind of like me, my philosophy, it's always kind of what's next. I've been privileged enough to do some really cool things, work with some cool people. But yeah, always striving for more. Probably when it's all said and done, then I can like really look back and have that memoir, and really think of like some really cool moments. But when you're in the thick of it, you're just trying to keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever take a moment though to like reflect and like express gratitude for those things, even though you're still in the thick of it? Like it's still a big deal.
I express gratitude for, the people who I've been able to work with, and the people who have believed in me, what I'm saying, whether those are editors or I think even, just the really cool, hair and makeup artists, the great assistants, stylists, all the people who, some of us, we definitely started in the mud, and we've, I've seen them grow and progress, and that's been amazing. It's always great, when I'm able to, work on like real jobs, real tangible things with them, just off the rapport and the relationship that we built. So, like those things really, matter to me, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This may be a little bit personal, but I want to know, like, when did you lose vision in your eye?
It's probably 8-9 years ago at this point. Yeah. Maybe even longer back than that.
That's something sudden?
It did happen very suddenly, very, very out of the blue. In a sense, it's like one day I woke up, my eye was a little hurting. By the end of that day, it was excruciating, and by the end of that next day, yeah, I couldn't see out of it. Life kind of changed real quick, but you roll with the punches. So that's one thing. That's one thing I can appreciate about New York. It's like New York don't give you a whole lot of time to feel sorry for yourself. Like you got to keep getting it. It's not like some places where you can just kind of sit on your laurels, or if you got family, things like that, people take care of you. Like I had to keep getting it. Rent and everything was gonna still be due. The sun was still gonna come up in the in the morning. So you have to be there to try to keep pushing.
Right. Were you nervous about how it was going to affect your photography?
I mean, there was some changes. I'm right hand dominant, so it happening in my right eye was definitely required some changes. Not only in just photography, but just in life and getting used to things. But you adapt and overcome. So.
I just had like this revelation. I have a cat. Not that you care, but I have a cat, but she can't see out of her right eye. But she doesn't have a right eye, so technically she can't see out of it because she doesn't have one. But I I just thought about that. I was like, the same eye. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
How did you develop your aesthetic as a photographer? Because I feel like when I look at your work, it definitely is a different type of style, I would say, from some other people that I've seen. So how did you develop like what you now like as your style as photography? Can't talk right now.
Um, a lot of it actually came from the time I spent in like Milan and London. Um, just how I guess, in a sense, like time I spent there was mostly like winter and early spring. It's if anybody knows London, it's like very cloudy and dreary, you know. So my work was a little darker than than most, but also I just think that aesthetically I've always liked, things that look somewhat natural.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every now and then I'll delve into some other aspects of photography, but my default is like a very natural, feel. So whether that's, in studio, lighting and things like that, or, outside, I still want it to look, natural and somewhat relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And I've just always had an affinity towards the old masters, your Stephen Meisels and your Richard Avedons and Peter Lindberghs. And, I grew up, seeing their work, in the Vogues and, et cetera. So those were the people that I really took after as far as like work aesthetic.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody like steal your work before as a photographer and like claim that they shot it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I I hope not. I mean, uh,
Or
yeah, no, I
maybe
don't. I don't.
use your images without like your permission.
I mean, I've definitely had people use images without my permission, but at the same time, like I don't too much sweat it. It's I've got so much so many other things to think about and worry about. I try not to be on Instagram or whatever, searching for my stuff or because the people who know me know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in my career, I've done a lot of things. So the work, like I said, the work kind of speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a way that photographers can protect their work? Because I have come across some photographers before that like people have like stolen their work, used it in a way that they didn't approve of or claimed it was theirs. Is it like copyright protection or I don't know how you protect your work?
Well, I mean, every time you click a shutter, you own that image
Mm-hmm.
unless a person, buys it from you outright. So, the images are protected by, you know, the like in the moment of creation. It's
Mm-hmm.
just up to the photographer if it's worth, what I'm saying, taking legal action, et cetera, et cetera. And for the most part, it's not worth it.
Right.
When it is worth it, then it's worth it. You can get some real benefits out of, either stopping someone from using your work or, going after um monetary, you know, damages, then
Right.
you do that. But
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, it hasn't come to that for me.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, aside from like picking up the camera and actually like practicing their craft, is there anything else that you would suggest photographers can do to strengthen their skill set?
Yeah, I think studying is very important. Whether that's finding various documentaries. If you don't want to, if you're not a reader or like that, you can just sit back and just you know listen to either the photographer themselves or someone speaking of their work. um I've enjoyed interviews a lot of photographers that I really admire, just to get into their head a bit, and understand their process. I think that's very important. Because a lot of times, I think photographers focus on, the technicalities of it. And, a lot of times what makes work beautiful is, it's not really the technicalities, it's the intangibles. Like you can take some very, very clean, simple, lighting, but the way that you interact, or the way that the subject interacts with you and your camera, their level of comfort, and like things like that. That's what makes images that are really special. So I just hope that the photographers that are learning, coming up, like they don't forget that, like their their interactions with the subject matter more than the technical aspects of light.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean not being good at light. Be great at it, so you can tell exactly the story that you want to tell, but still, like, your interaction with the subject matters the most.
Yeah, I don't even think they think about that.
I would hope they do, what I'm saying? Because that's what makes, like I said, that's what makes images that are iconic to me. The story behind the image, not just the image itself.
Is there a way that you make models or your subjects feel comfortable in your presence as a photographer, like a female subject? Because I've heard a lot of models with horror stories about photographers making them feel uncomfortable or doing inappropriate things, telling them to take their tops off, like all types of crazy stuff. How do you make people feel comfortable with you in general?
I mean, I just try to be myself. I just try to be, personable and respectful. Also just understanding that, as a photographer, most of the time you're in a position of power. So not to abuse that, if you're thinking of, doing nude work or things like that, like there has to be a trust between you and your subject. Those could be had in conversations, but those conversations shouldn't necessarily come out of the blue. It shouldn't come in a position where the person feels like if they say no, then like it's gonna it's gonna impact the shoot negatively. And if you find yourself in that position, then you shouldn't do it. But yeah, more than anything, it's just like making a person feel comfortable, feel personable, or excuse me, be personable, and just building that trust, so that they know that you're not, you don't have any ulterior motives, and that they can be themselves with you. Because ultimately, like that's all I want, is a person to be themselves and to feel comfortable trying new things, but usually, when they see good shots and when they, know that you're not, trying to take advantage or being a predator, things like that, a person can, feel comfortable. And yeah.
Do you have any pet peeves as a photographer? Because I know as a makeup artist, I'll tell you some of my pet peeves to give you an example. Like I hate when people come and they don't have their brows groomed. Like I know photographers, they like really big on nails. Like sometimes the girls don't have their nails done or they look chewed out. Like, do you have any pet peeves that you're just like, oh my gosh, here we go again?
My pet peeve is people who shoot and you can just tell that there's a wall there. Like they're only going to do certain movements, or like they're not trying to push themselves, they're not trying to go inward and really exude themselves. Like, it's just very superficial. Like, I can usually tell really quick, when a person is just kind of going through the motions. And, beyond anything else, like, that's probably my biggest pet peeve. Like, don't just go through the motions with me, because, then we just wasted time.
It's like they're a robot.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily a robot. It's just like they shoot like it's a job, and they only want to do certain things just to get it over with. Like, there's no joy in it. It's no exploration. It's just like, I'm gonna put my hands right here. I'm gonna pop my hip. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna shift my shoulders here or there. I'm gonna turn to the side a little bit. I'm gonna look out. And sometimes you're just like, like, you can tell when it's just like a progression of of preconceived, like, poses,
Yeah.
versus a person being themselves.
Gotcha.
So if there's a pet peeve, that's probably my biggest one.
Yeah. As a photographer, have you ever experienced, or do you know anybody that has experienced like discrimination as a photographer of color? Like maybe not getting certain jobs or being overlooked for certain things just because of the color of their skin?
I think every Black photographer at a certain point has experienced that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of, I think that's par for the course.
Okay.
Whether it's, and I think in fashion in general, 99% of the times it's not overt. It's just, you may be out for something, you don't get it, or yeah. I just think it's a part of the industry that, we still have work to do on. And obviously not everybody's like that, but I do feel that even beyond racism, like, or discrimination, it's a very buddy kind of world. So if people don't know you, or if they haven't, had time to really experience you, et cetera, then they're just going to be apt not to really, I'm saying, like, rock with you like that, at least on, major things. And at some level you understand that, but, at other levels, it's like, you're also not trying to take the time to, like, get to know me, or
Right.
or see if I can do it. You just rather go with the person that you've always used. So, I think in fashion especially, like, that's why you have certain people that work like overwork, and then you have people that don't work that much at all.
Got you. Are you with the agency?
I am not currently.
Okay.
Yeah, I am in between agencies. I was signed, and now I'm in the process of looking for a new agent.
Got you. Do photographers have to be in the agency to get like those big jobs in a sense?
Not necessarily. At that point, it's very much so who knows you.
Yeah.
That's the key. Like, that's the key to fashion, and like, this thing is like, who knows you, and if they like you,
Right.
really.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for like building relationships, and just because that's a lot of the things that I've gotten to do as a makeup artist that I would consider like, well, most people consider a big deal, I guess, have literally come from me networking and knowing people. And then like when the opportunity comes, they're like, oh, ask Aquia, or maybe you should consider her. And then that's how I got a lot of things. So I believe in that as well. It really is about who you know and being a good person, like having the skill set and then being a good person too for the job.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have some questions from the friends in beauty community, some of my photographers. I told them I was interviewing JD today, and if they had any questions for you. So the first question is from Cece. She's a photographer here in the DMV area, but she wants to know what foundational moves did you make to secure your success in photography?
Foundational moves. I think, believe it or not, like I'm very much an artist. You know, I'm not necessarily the greatest business person. I'll be the first to admit, like I'm very much an artist. So um, a lot of my foundation is built off of a lot of repetition of shooting and shooting and shooting and doing shoots that I look back on now and definitely cringe. Like what in the world was I trying to do? But you take lessons from the things that you do and you try to use that to apply to your next thing and just continue to grow, continue to really grow your aesthetic and understanding what you do and don't like. I think as an artist, that's the most important thing, is it keeps you from wasting time, and it allows you to really hone in on the things that matter to you. Yeah.
Okay. And David, the House of David, shout out to David. He's in the DMV area as well, but he wants to know, do you see yourself doing photography for the rest of your life?
Absolutely. And the minute I don't will be the minute I quit. And it's time to find that thing. But that's the beauty about photography. It's almost like golf. You can play it forever. When you're young and energetic, you can be prolific. And then when you're older and slower, you can, maybe it's just a project here or there, or it's just, shooting people in the park or anything, but like taking images, that's trying to create art, I love that.
And the last question is from Purpose Captured. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but they want to know, what does your creative space have to look like for you to be inspired? And what state of mind do you have to be in to create?
To truly create, I just have to be, inspired by the person or the, fashion. Like I'm truly, beyond, loving shooting portraits. Like I'm a big into fashion, big into, clothes and how they look and feel, and like those things inspire me, to, push sometimes harder, do different things, and then the subject matter, for sure. If it's something that, or if it's someone that I really am interested in creatively, I'll try new things, if they're, open and, I'm seeing early on that like they're really about it, then, it makes me want to, rise to that level, as well. So yeah, but yeah, so I guess, the ability to collaborate with like-minded people, is what really brings out the creativity in me. What does my space have to look like? I think relatively clean and open. It's hard for me to create in like tight, closed spaces. It almost, I feel like within the creative process, it starts to feel claustrophobic, and it starts limiting what you want to do. The gear you want to take down and put back up, or whatever. Like, yeah. So like big spaces where you can really feel and see and move things around and get things out the way and switch things quickly. Like, I like that.
Yeah, I know they'd be mad if I didn't ask what kind of camera. It was like, what's your go-to camera that you use?
I shoot with Fujifilm GFX 100.
Okay. I know most people are either between like Nikon, Canon, Sony.
Yeah. I have a Canon and I use it, for certain purposes, but my main camera is a GFX 100. Medium format camera. Yeah.
All righty. So I have this thing that I do on the podcast called Never Have I Ever, like the drinking game, but we're not going to be drinking, of course. I think you'll be able to handle it. You look like you familiar. You look like you got some stories about Never Have I Ever. You're like, oh my God.
I don't, man. I don't. I'm really boring on the low.
Well, this one will be good for you. So the way that this one works, if you have done this before, I'm going to give you a never have I ever statement. If you've done it before, share the story behind it. But if not, and somebody does this, like what advice would you give to them to, conquer this? So the never have I ever statement is, never have I ever had an amazing shoot and then lost the images afterwards. Have you ever done that before? Hey, I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have something to tell you real quick. Did you know that I created a Patreon? Look, podcasting is fun. I absolutely love it, but it is not cheap. And there have been so many people who have reached out to me that want to support the show somehow and keep the good vibes flowing. So I thought, why not create a Patreon? For as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends of Beauty podcast and join a community of other loyal supporters of the show, just like you, okay? There are other tier levels available that unlock tons of exclusive Patreon-only content like behind-the-scenes clips, bonus interview content, monthly calls with me, discounts, and so much more. But no matter what tier level you decide to choose, I appreciate you so much, and I'm going to give you a shout out on the podcast when you join. So if you'd like to be a part of the exclusive Patreon community for the Friends of Beauty podcast, I'll leave the link right here and down below in the show notes for you to join. And as always, I appreciate your support so, so much. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the episode.
I have done that before.
What happened?
I have. It's my fault. I just sometimes, especially when I'm shooting a lot, and at this time, now I tether almost exclusively. I very rarely shoot the cards, but at this time I was doing a lot of shooting and I was just shooting the cards, and I had a shoot that was kind of in between two other shoots that I had moved them to a hard drive. And I was on another shoot and I needed some card space, and I just formatted the whole card. And then literally like 2-3 weeks later, I'm looking for this one creative shoot, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. And I was finding stuff from right before it. I was finding stuff from right after it. And I couldn't find that shoot. And then it dawned on me, it's like it had to been on this memory card that I formatted. And by then I had formatted that card several times, and them images were long gone. So charge it to the game. I hated that. But, it's going to get you at least once.
Oh, man. What advice would you give to somebody to avoid that?
At the end of the day, always download your cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't get lazy. That was just purely laziness, and it bit me.
Oh man, but you had to learn from it though.
Absolutely.
It had to happen.
Absolutely.
I saw your story earlier, so I have a question about that. Like, what are some things that you see being overlooked when these people are publishing images? Like, because I know photographers, y'all look at different things. This is what I noticed is like, just working with a team. I'm looking at the makeup, the photographer's looking at one thing, the hairstylist is looking at another thing. The people who own the brand are probably looking at something totally different. So when you see like certain things getting published, and as a photographer, like what are some things that you see getting overlooked and you're like, oh my God, what is going on?
Oh man, that post. I think most of the time, and I don't say a lot on various, covers and projects that people produce, because, a lot of things are subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Art is subjective. So, like, we don't have to always like something to respect the process.
Right.
But I think when you just see like blatant, things that have been overlooked that detract from the finished product and aren't subjective opinions, where, I don't want to say specifically because I don't want to comment specifically on what magazine I was talking about or what project I was talking about. And if I say too much, then it's gonna be kind of like a parent. But yeah, I just think that a lot of editors, a lot of photographers, we just need to always keep in mind, no matter how we want to light something or how we want to portray something, like it still needs to be excellent. People hated Terry Richardson, and hated his work for many years, even before all of the scandal stuff. But you could say what you wanted about what looked like a super simple celeb on a white wall. Like, it was still like crisp and well done, in that aesthetic, and that's what I mean. I don't have to like your aesthetic to still say, okay, like this was still executed well. So, it's just like when you have things that are just like not executed well, like that's, as a photographer, that's what bothers me, when you see very obvious things that were missed, things that would have taken 5 seconds for someone to run in and fix, or, as you're reviewing images, would have taken you 10 seconds to see there's a flaw here and, make an adjustment somewhere to get a better overall image. I think that we should always be pushing towards the best work we can put out, and not just putting out anything.
Absolutely. I would imagine too, at this point, there's a lot of people who want to work with you over the years, just from the success that you've had, of course, your amazing creative artistry and everything like that. Like, what are some things that you consider, like if you still collaborate with people on certain things, what are some things you consider before collaborating with people? And then, like, how do you prefer for them to reach out to you?
I really consider what's their aesthetic, in fact, I think it kind of starts and ends there. Like, what's your aesthetic? Like, what do you think is good work? And then, like, if we align on that, then we can create good work, great work. So that to me is super important. Keeps us from just like wasting time, or, it keeps me, I guess honestly, it keeps me from wasting my time.
Right.
'Cause if our aesthetics don't match, then you may think that the work is amazing, and I don't, and you don't understand why I don't like it for this or that, and that's not fair to me. It's not fair to you, so like, why, like, let's make sure we're on the same page, make sure all of our work is on the same level, and then, we'll both win. Contacting me, you can send me a DM, send me an email. Most of the time I answer. Well, if you persistent, I'll eventually get back to you. Sometimes, I'm just busy and things, and I don't always like see my emails because I get so many emails throughout every day. I just miss something, but to the person that's persistent, they'll get me.
Okay. Are there any challenges that you face now as a photographer that are a little bit different from when you first started?
The only challenge is just, I feel like when you're new at things, you're willing to do a lot more things. You're willing to work with a lot more people. You're, like, when you get little jobs here and there, like, they're so meaningful because it's all new. But when you've been doing it for a while, and you're climbing up that ladder, like, hit certain parts where it feels like you're kind of hitting up against the ceiling. So it's just trying to push through that ceiling to keep going up. There's more ladder, and you got to get through. So and I think that sometimes those ceilings aren't even necessarily like of other people's creations. It could be personal things in life, or setbacks or whatever like that work to limit you, but always trying to, break through those limits and keep pushing, forward. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know a lot of photographers that I won't say that they're struggling, but it seems like it's a little bit more difficult for photographers, it seems like, than it is for like a makeup artist to kind of like break through and like be successful. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it can be more difficult, because, this is a very saturated field. And because it's so easy to get into these days, I think that a lot of people can get proficient at it relatively quickly. And, like that's a gift and a curse, back in the day, because of the price of, films and cameras and things like that, there was a, you really had to be committed to trying to do this to really get somewhere.
Right.
Now with so much technology, available for, not that much of a price, a lot of people can get into it. A lot of people can, learn Photoshop and, things like that. But, there's still the matter of taste, and there's still the matter of building an aesthetic. I think that it used to be a lot more difficult because you had, some people may call them gatekeepers and things, but you had people who had been in the industry for many, 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 many years, sometimes decades, and they had a sense of taste and style and direction, and I think now you have a lot of, people who are young and they're exciting, but like, at the same time, like they're still trying to settle in on their aesthetic. So they tend to be a little bit all over the place. And that can be a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So are you working on your legacy? Like at the end of the day, like what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to say about you?
I want people to say J.D. Barnes was one of the best photographers ever. That's lofty. Excuse me. Lofty, but that's what I always wanted when I came into this. It's not about shooting for this or that or this cover or that celebrity, or that brand even. I just want to be, like when you think of the Peter Lindberghs and the Patrick Demarcheliers and your Mizelles and, your Helmut Newtons and all of that, I hope in 50 years, 50, 60 years, people are saying like, I was right there, like they're like a generation, 2 generations behind, me as it pertains to the work. And, I want to be a part of that next generation or this current generation that's going to one day be seen by the generations that come after us as, like a part of the change and, relevant.
Yeah. Do you teach classes?
No.
He's like, no. Would you ever?
I doubt it. I'm not a like, I have to like you for me to really like work with you like that, because like I need to be invested in you. Like we need to be able to have conversations, about life and everything else, and for me to just be able to riff, because I tend to riff and, just go on and on about photography because I love it, so yeah, I don't think I'm like class like material, but rock with you, if we really, really can build a relationship, in fact, me and my first assistant now, that's just what happened. Like we just built a relationship, and like, that's my guy, so anything he needs, he can ask and like, we can make it happen. But, I think also about building a relationship, like you have trust, and you know that, you know what I'm saying, a person isn't trying to take advantage of you. That's a big thing to me, you know, like I don't like building, like I don't like caring about, because I care about my assistants. They're not just, you know, a means to an end. They're people that I care about, you know. So I don't want people, like, I don't want to care about you and then like at the drop of a dime, like you going in the wind, like you got what you needed and then you out. Because then I'm gonna feel, you know, I don't really go through assistance like that. It's the same, you know, small handful of people, kind of like, and they're friends, you know, like they're actual real friends, and that's just how I like it. I like to keep the family close.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. Is there one piece of advice that you can give to a photographer right now to just like take their images to the next level? I don't know if it's the lighting or the settings, if that's a thing, or the way they're shooting. What do you think?
My biggest advice to any photographer is take the time to learn who you are and what you want to shoot, to really your aesthetic. You know, I think a lot of times, especially Black photographers, we lose because we don't take the time to really understand art and really understand like the principles of art and things like that. Like we can make really good pictures, but a lot of times it feels like we're copying, you know, like we see something good and we want to recreate it in our own way. And that's fine. But if you do that, you're always behind the curve, never in front of it. And to really be, you know, what I think a lot of us want to be, we have to find ways to get ahead of the curve. The only way you can do that is by learning and trusting your own aesthetic, you know, and pairing that with, you know, the knowledge of whatever industry that you do photography in. And then you can carve out a lane that's wholly your own. But if you can't do that, then yeah, you're always chasing somebody else's glory.
Right. Oof. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, for sure. You have anything coming up next? Anything exciting? Other than the holiday next Monday.
Nah, I'm just not there's nothing too exciting, man. I'm in a period of, you know, some change in my life, you know, and you know, I'm trying to just sit in that moment and try to focus on it and, you know, just be the best that I could be. And, you know, knowing that at any moment I can get a call and I'll be off somewhere else, hopefully, you know. So, you know, you're just trying to stay ready.
Yeah.
Trying to stay ready, trying to stay focused, and good things will happen.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Before you go, I have to ask you the rapid fire questions, the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions to get your keys to longevity and success.
Okay.
I just love your face. It's like, oh God. Okay. So the first, you're going to be great. So the first one, what are your top 3 keys to your success so far?
Persistence, determination. Yeah, that's it. Persistence, determination. I don't even need a third one. That's me.
Persistence, and determination.
Yeah.
How do you measure your success?
Oh boy, how do I measure my success? I measure my success by how I feel about my work. Yeah. Because everybody's opinion doesn't really matter to me. But if I'm happy with it, then I'm good.
Awesome. What's the best advice you've ever received, or just like a piece of advice that's just stuck with you for a long time?
Keep it about the work.
Yes.
Keep it about the work. I think, many years ago on Facebook and things, when I used to be on that, you get into all these arguments and discussions about everything else, and someone that was important to me at the time told me, man, like, leave all the other stuff alone, man. Just like, keep it about the work, let the work speak.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to a photographer right now who is just ready to give up on photography because they're not getting the results that they want to get?
I know it's rapid fire, but like, you're gonna have to expound on the results they want to get.
Yeah, maybe the success, the visibility, the money, I guess, yeah.
This is art, man. This is art. It doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't have to be all of that. If you're willing to give up on photography because you're not making the money that you want to make, then photography isn't really your passion. You need to find your passion. Whether you could be dead broke, but if photography is your passion, even if you work a 9 to 5, you're gonna always find time for your passion. You're not gonna stop it because you ain't, making the money you want to make.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what's a resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Friends in Beauty community?
Funnily enough, man, like YouTube, but like not for like tutorials and stuff, for the documentaries and interviews and things that you can find on there, with the people that you respect or admire or are fans of, to get a chance to really get into their process. And for me, like that's not just photographers, but even sports people, huge fan of Kobe Bryant's birthday today. Or, just other people in the arts. But just celebrities, rappers and singers and like everything, like, but people who are successful, people that you respect, being able to listen to them and, see what their processes, are and things that motivate them and, et cetera. So yeah, I'm thankful for that, because without that platform, like, we wouldn't have even that, like we wouldn't be able to learn from them, and a lot of keys to success are kind of universal, so you can glean a lot from people regardless of their, that's their career choice necessarily.
Right. I do like that. I love watching documentaries and stuff like that. So I totally agree with that for sure. So the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and just say, my name is blank, and the key to longevity and success is, whatever you think it is.
Okay. My name is JD Barnes, and the key to longevity and success is being driven and focused and not letting anything or anybody get in the way of what you want to be.
Absolutely. Block out the noise, y'all. Block it out. Tunnel vision.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before you go, share, I guess, your social media or however you want people to connect with you and follow your journey.
For sure. It's easy. It's just at JD the Combo, JDTHECOMBO. Pretty much everywhere I'm at, it's going to be that. Then my website is www.thejamesbarnes.com.
All righty, there you have it. Thank you so much for doing this, JD. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. One of the few that get me. You got me.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.